according to Rappaport, he said that, and a few others that are close to the situation, the Dallas Cowboys are using multiple offensive line combinations in camp. And the great thing, it's not terrible. They're trying to get the best 5 on the field. But also, if you're in a situation that the Cowboys were in, where health last year was not very good, you need to do this to see, okay, well, if Mailata gets hurt, who can take his spot? Okay, we can move him here, him there. Okay, we can do this, we can do this, we can bring that guy here. Or, hey, a guy on a second offensive line, he's doing better than anyone else on the first offensive line, so let's move him, let's drag him out. Okay, let's go do this. That's just the way it's done in the NFL. And so it's not shocking, it's more of uplifting to show the competition is there at the offensive line, which we'll get to. The Bills could be on the move. We heard this because the Bills stadium needs to be renovated a little bit. It needs to just be fixed. It's a little old, and they've been in that building for a long time. They just need to fix it up. But the Bills were saying that we're not getting the money, so we may move. Where could they move? Texas is a possibility. Now, I get it. The Texas Bills does not sound very good. It sounds kind of terrible. But it's a good move to go and say, hey, we'll leave. We just bought the city something, and when we're gone, they become nothing. So it's like, you put us between a rock and a hard place. If we don't give you money, you're leaving. And then the whole city hates us. Jordan Mailata is the early leader for the Philadelphia Eagles left tackle position above Andre Dillard. Andre Dillard got hurt last year. He tore his Achilles, I believe, and that kept him out for a whole year, and then the Eagles had a bunch of tackle issues. So, in a weird way, it's like, but we just saw this guy can't really do too much. He's not great. Like, I'm not saying he has to be great, but he couldn't stop DeMarcus Lawrence on one leg and a bad back, and he couldn't stop him. Could you imagine he goes against the Washington football team's front or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front? He's going to get scorched. It's just not a good idea. Carson Wentz is out 5 to 12 weeks having to get surgery on his foot that he was expected to only take rest and rehab it. This is the report that we were talking about earlier when Wentz was out indefinitely. He had hurt his foot in practice. And this is hard on the Eagles fans too, because Eagles fans knew Carson Wentz, the only way they get a first round pick, because it was a conditional pick what the Colts traded for Wentz. The Eagles would only get a first round pick if Wentz played 75% of the snaps, or played 70% of the snaps and made the playoffs. We're 6 weeks away, essentially. We're less than 6 weeks away from the regular season. If he doesn't play until like week 8, he's not going to get 70% of the snaps, even if they do make the playoffs. So that's the situation they're in. Where the Eagles may not even get a number 1. That's just how the NFL goes. And like, that's the thing with Carson Wentz that's always concerned everybody is his health. He's a good athlete. He's fine as a quarterback, but he doesn't play healthy all the time. He's always gotten hurt at some point. The Giants signed ex-Cowboy Joe Looney. He is reuniting with ex-head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, Jason Garrett. Joe Looney had been on the streets for a number of months, and now he's going to be heading into camp with the New York Giants. The Giants also signed Alfred Morris. So that's for insurance behind Barkley. Caleb Farley, the Titans first round selection, is now allowed to practice. He's coming off a second back surgery. And they were a little concerned, but he's a good athlete. He's great. He was probably one of the better corners in the draft before he got back surgery. It's just a question of, can he, because he's in the same position that DeMarcus Lawrence is. DeMarcus Lawrence had his third back surgery in almost 5 years. If Caleb Farley's had 2 back surgeries before he made the NFL, that's a very concerning position to be in. Cowboys Randy Gregory quoted saying, I have a lot to prove," basically was what he was saying. I still have a lot to prove, according to the organization, because the team did not play Randy Gregory very often last year, and he still showcased what he could do. So it's just, that's what we got to see out of Randy Gregory. And he's supposedly, we'll see more on Hard Knocks, that he's dominated in camp. So we just want to wait and see what happens, and I can't wait till he gets on the field. Eagles first rounder DeVonta Smith sprained his MCL or is considered week to week. The Eagles receivers are having a hard time because if DeVonta Smith can't play, we're back to square one of Jalen Reagor having to do the job. Now, the expectation is Zach Ertz will be here for next year, but it's a little concerning if you're an Eagles fan.